Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, February 28th, 2015. This is episode 1165. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and MP3 play. No. Yeah, you know what? We could talk portable music players. They're back, baby. And, of course, smartphones. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you have a question or something you'd like to talk about, I'd love to hear from you. It's easiest to remember 8888 Ask Leo, but 888-827-5536 if you need the actual digits. You can that's U.S. and Canada toll-free. U.S. and Canada. But if you wish to call and you don't wish to pay any money outside the U.S. and Canada, I think if you use Skype, use your Skype out, it won't cost you anything. You might not even need any credits because it's a toll-free number. So you can just sit on hold for hours, which you might, given that we get a lot of calls. 8888 Ask Leo. The website, if you don't want to remember anything, is just remember this, techguylabs.com, because the phone number's there, a link to the chat room is there, and everything I talk about is there. So we write this down. James DeRuvo writes this down as I talk, and then puts it on the website. Then we add audio and video later, and it's just kind of like a record of what happened on the show. So including your comments, by the way. So if you have thoughts, I know people sometimes, there are people, believe it or not, who listen to the show in order to catch me out. They want me to say something right, and then they yell at the radio. But no longer do you need to yell at the radio. Good news. I know that's a great American pastime, but you don't have to. You could just yell at the website. Go to techguylabs.com, and we divide the website into shows, day by day, within that hour by hour. There are 3 hours to each show. And then within that, call by call. So you can go right to that call and yell. You can even type in all caps, Leo, in the comments. You're wrong. And by the way, that doesn't cost you anything. It's free to yell at me or visit or search. It's techguylabs.com. No sign up, and no fee, nothing. Just like the old days. Remember when websites, you just would go to them and use them? It's like that. techguylabs.com. Sad news yesterday. The passing of Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, 83 years old, smoker for many, many years. He'd quit 3 decades ago, but nonetheless had chronic obstructionary pulmonary disease, COPD, and passed away. He said last year in a tweet, I wish I had never smoked. So, little lesson for my daughter. Yes, I'm looking at you, Abby. Stop it! The kids today, it's weird. They know. See, when I was a kid, you knew that smoking, 4 out of 5 doctors recommended it. So you knew it was, but now they know better. And they still do it. And I guess it's not cool. So, and we'll miss you, Mr. Spock. We won't miss his singing. If you want to read, and you can read it online, I would say a beautiful piece by Virginia Heffernan in the New York Times, talking about Mr. Spock's life and times. I didn't know, for instance, that he directed 3 Men and a Baby. I didn't know that. And I bet you, if I'm not mistaken, our musical director, Nathan Staten, will probably pull up one of Mr. Spock's songs sometime during the show. One of my favorite, Proud Mary. Rollin', proud, rolling down the river. He had such a great voice. Live long and prosper, Mr. Spock. We will miss Leonard Nimoy. And all the geeks, of course, were crazy about him and loved him dearly. And he was in the last 2. He had a cameo in the last 2 Star Trek movies, which is kind of cool, kind of neat. I watched the Academy Award-winning documentary last night. I hadn't seen it. Citizen 4, have you seen it? relevant to this show because, of course, not only did it win an Oscar last week, but it is the story of Edward Snowden. You know what's interesting? In the year and a half since the Snowden leaks began, and they continue to this day, he was an employee of a company called Booz Allen, contracted out as a network administrator to the NSA, the National Security Agency, working out of Hawaii. And as an NSA contractor and as a sysadmin, this is something to keep in mind, by the way, he had the highest security clearance of all because as a side effect of his work running the networks, had to have access to the entire networks. You can't, this is why it's dangerous to be an administrator or root. There's nothing a root user cannot do. And as he worked in Hawaii, he became more and more concerned about what he saw as overreaching on the part of NSA, spying into the lives of everybody, including ordinary Americans who were not under suspicion of terrorism. He became so perturbed by it that he did something that is very controversial to this day. He started downloading everything he could get from the NSA servers. Once he had downloaded must be gigabytes of data, he absconded with it, went to Hong Kong, contacted journalists at several newspapers and said, "This is what I have, and I'm going to give this to you on the ground on the condition that you don't reveal anything that would risk the lives of NSA operatives or FBI or CIA operatives, that would not reveal names of people, but instead what I want you to do is to tell the world, Americans particularly, what NSA is up to." And Glenn Greenwald, journalist for The Guardian, Der Spiegel, The Washington Post, The New York Times, Laura Poitras, who is the documentarian as well, a number of people received that information. And it's such a huge trove, they decided not to dump it all at once because it would be too much for anybody to digest, but to slowly dribble it out. And it comes out today. Now, he may be controversial. His actions may be controversial. Certainly the president and the intelligence agencies in the United States would love to get him back in the U.S. He's right now in exile in Russia, where they've given him asylum, political asylum. Would love to get him back and try him. And no doubt some would like to hang him as a traitor. What is not controversial, and this is the thing that's changed over 18 months of these releases, what is no longer controversial is the material itself, in the sense that no one doubts it. Have you noticed that? It is now kind of accepted, there's just too much of it. There's too many confirming instances. It's just not in question. So, in my opinion, he's done a very important thing, which is to take something that was done in secret without the permission of the American people, with only the permission of Congress, which in many cases was ill-informed and lied to by the national intelligence agencies, and of the president, who presumably knew exactly what was going on and who lied about it as well. Both President Bush and President Obama have lied about what the NSA is up to. And he's brought that information to the forefront so that we can actually talk about it. What freedoms are we willing to give up for our national security? It's been very controversial worldwide because, of course, we have some protection as U.S. citizens. They have none. And one of the real controversial revelations was that we, the United States, through the NSA, were spying on the Chancellor of Germany, listening in on, in fact, her mobile phone calls. And I think this is important because you can't assume that she was a terrorist. In fact, we're pretty sure she's not. She's an ally. It is the drone strikes, is another thing we learned, that we fly into the Middle East are all flown out of Germany, out of the Ramstein Air Force Base, with the cooperation of the German government. There's no question that Chancellor Merkel of Germany is a friend. And nevertheless, we spied on her. And I think that's the thing that raises some issues, because you can say, well, we're doing this to protect the U.S. against terrorism. But when, in fact, that spying goes beyond that, and perhaps for economic gain, for advantage in negotiations, I'm not sure what for, then you have to say this is, and certainly the rest of the world agrees, overstepping our bounds. So, a good movie. If you get a chance to watch it, I recommend it. Citizen 4. It's It's available in most places. I don't think it's on Netflix yet, but well worth watching. We'll take a break, come back with your calls in just a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Wow, that disappeared suddenly. Did we lose him? Wow. I guess Nathan Staten is not there. Or this is something. Just in case you missed it. There it is. Do we go early or just... Oh, I get it. So I'm going to jot down the exact times here because I'm writing this program. And you'll be glad to hear this, Nathan, that will make sure that I get the heck out of the show before the bumper bumps. I try, but I missed it this time by a second or two. So I'm going to write a program for an Android tablet or Android phone that shows me the countdown, starts blinking yellow at 2 minutes, starts blinking red at 30 seconds. Not blinking, but shows red at 30 seconds. It starts blinking at 10. Stop talking, Leo. Because I don't actually know the times. Oh, the debate rages. James, I had a countdown app, but as subsequent versions of OS 10 came out, it kind of got funky. It's written in Apple script, and I think better would be to have an app either on a Android device or on my next step after I do this will be to make a watch version. But the thing is, if it's an Android device, I could see it right there, right? Oh, we'll talk about net neutrality. Yeah, you know what? What happened this week? Just the most important FCC vote of all time. 2 of them, actually. Yeah, I think Hodor, that's exactly right. He moved it from what people thought was going on, but was considered kind of, well, you don't know, it's conspiracy theory, to we now have the exact facts. Yeah, I saw that on Broadband Reports. Thank you, Mike, for passing that along to me. It's an old picture of me and Dane Jasper at the Screensavers. And just the thumbnail, bravo to the FCC. I know a lot of you are going, oh my God, it's the end of the world. The Netherlands has had somewhat similar regulation for several years now. And you know what? The world didn't end, and they have better internet than they did before, and much better internet than we do. Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, he did so many wonderful things. He was such an inspiration, such a great guy. It's a shame that that's the thing that I'm going to play. But, we love him for everything he did. There's a great video of the Bruno Mars song that was done with the Bruno Mars. It's kind of the second official video of the Lazy song. Today I'm not going to do anything. Featuring Leonard Nimoy in bathrobe and slippers, mocking people. It's very funny. One of the last things he did. He also at first kind of hated that he really was Spock. He was a guy who had acted in theater. He'd done TV shows for years. He'd done movies. He was teaching acting, and once cast as Spock, he never really was able to escape that shadow. And he wrote a book, I think, in the 80s, titled "I Am Not Spock." He was a poet. He was an art collector. He was a lot of things. I am not Spock. And then he followed it up with a second volume in the 90s. I am Spock. I am. It's okay. We'll miss him. Leonard Nimoy. Sometimes you do find the right role, the role of a lifetime. And while I'm sure it chafes as an actor, you want to do other things. It's pretty lucky if you find something like that.
Right. What a gift.
Yeah. And we'll never forget him. That beautiful voice is Heather Humman, the phone ranger. And it's always wonderful to come in. Heather's always in a good mood. She's lining up callers, carefully grooming them, much unlike me. My hair. So I shaved my head for charity on New Year's Eve, you may remember. We raised quite a bit of money, $75,000 for UNICEF, but the hair has been growing in kind of funny. Now, here it is, 2 months later? It's kind of sticking out. I look like a chia pet.
I was just getting a little Grandpa from the Munsters.
Yeah, thank you. Nice.
So you need to groom that side up, I guess.
I put a lot of gel in it today. Didn't help. I think there's just like there's an awkward age for humans, there's an awkward age for human hair.
Yeah.
And I'm in it. The adolescence of my hairdo. It's just anyway, I'm going to live with it. Hello, Heather. Remember
Hello.
Ryder? Who could forget Ryder?
Did he write?
Ryder wrote me a letter.
Oh, great.
So we talked to Ryder. He was, 9?
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Mom was a Mac. He was a PC. Kind of a,
Makings of a great TV ad.
Yeah, and by the way, we've made there's a little video of Ryder and me on YouTube with you. It's great. If you get a chance to watch it, it's on our Twitbits feed. I don't know how to get to that, but Ryder, it's spelled R-Y-D-E-R, and he signed it and he's got very nice block letters. Says, Dear Mr. Laporte, thanks for taking the time to talk with me yesterday. I am the 9-year-old you talked to the other day. I'm really excited. I'm going to get a Windows computer. See, Mom, the whole family was Mac, but he felt the need for a PC because he wanted to play Minecraft. I said, well, you can do that on Mac. And he also wanted an Oculus Rift virtual reality. This kid, very plugged in for a 9-year-old. Pretty amazing. He played Terraria. So he says, now I just have to convince Mom and Dad to help me buy a Dell XPS 13. That's what I told him. If you want to get the top of the line. Now, you can also get an HP Stream for $220. But anyway, I am starting a pet sitting service. So if you have any pets, I could pet sit them. We do. Ozzy, he'd be great with Ozzy. I am most likely going to get the XPS 13. It seems like a great computer. By the way, do you know of any places I can get free tech support? I really need tech support. Man, this would be a kid to mentor, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Man. So
Ryder's
I told
a rebel.
Ryder has an iPad. He said he has a mini, and I told him get Tinker, T-Y-N-K-E-R. You can learn to code through Tinker. Tinker's great. Once he kind of masters Tinker, then he can go on to an MIT project that's really good. In fact, I'm using it to write an Android app myself. It's not just for kids, although it's designed to kind of be like middle school and high school kids, and it's designed for schools and teachers. It's called App Inventor. It came out of Google, but MIT has taken it over. App Inventor 2 came out last year. It's really great. If you Google app, A-P-P, space, inventor, space, the number 2, you'll find it very quickly. And what's cool about it is you can develop Android software. You need an Android device. You can develop Android software on the computer in a browser. You don't need to download anything. And then if you want to put it on your phone, you can once you get it working, and then you bundle it up into a standard Android app you could put on your phone. So it's the next step. And I think that the point MIT makes when they created App Inventor, and Google too, was that kids these days, we should not be just consumers of great stuff in our digital technology. There's such great stuff. It's a candy store. But if you, especially as a kid, it would be really great to learn how to make the candy as well. Not just because you're going to get a better job, but because it's fun and you learn how to think logically. And maybe it isn't going to be your job, but it's a valuable skill. Just like algebra, you might say, well, I never need to use algebra. But the argument for learning algebra in school is it teaches you to think, to problem solve. This is like that. So Ryder, nice to talk to you. You don't have to get a new computer to play with Tinker, T-Y-N-K-E-R. And I would start there. I think I mentioned it to him. We will talk about, I got carried away talking about Citizen 4, and we will talk about the biggest story of the week, which is the FCC vote on net neutrality. And this is surprisingly controversial. It's interesting because over the last year, geeks, big tech companies have all said, yes, you've got to do this, FCC. You've got to protect net neutrality, and this is how you have to do it. They received 4 million comments, more than any other topic the FCC has ever covered, almost all of them in favor of what the FCC ended up doing on Friday or Thursday, I guess it was. And yet, all of a sudden, I think you really can credit it to radio and and Fox News and some conservative hosts who rightly understand, say, you can't trust the government. This is a government takeover of the internet. I disagree. We'll talk about that and why I think this is such a landmark vote and how important it is. But we're not going to do that right now because I want to take some calls. Heather, who should I start with here?
Well, this is right in your wheelhouse, I guess. Mark in Santa Ana asking about the not-so-super fish.
Superfish. And there's another big story. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have to save that for another time. Hey, Mark, hang on. I will talk about Superfish. That was the Lenovo software that turns out to be far worse and far more ubiquitous than we thought. But that's coming up. Home theater right after this. La-da-da-da-da. From that magic music means it's time for our home theater guru, Scott Wilkinson. Scott is the editor at the AVS Forum, and he also hosts the Home Theater Geeks podcast on our network. And he has been known to sing a Leonard Nimoy song from time to time, including this. No, you don't sing this one.
I don't sing this one.
Young ladies and value your wine.
Is this when he?
With young men in their
Is this from the episode where the spores turned him into a romantic briefly?
No.
No.
This is in the episode called Plato's Stepchildren.
Yeah, and for some reason, Captain Kirk's not wearing a shirt. But that's. I understand why Leonard Nimoy. He wrote this. No. Please stop. He wrote this. You're saying. You're telling me.
He did. He wrote this song.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that.
Enough of that.
Scott is here to talk home theater. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Leo. I did write a tribute to Leonard Nimoy yesterday. It was a very sad day.
Yeah.
For me, certainly, because like so many people in the chat room and everywhere, Leonard Nimoy's the character of Spock just really inspired me, and the whole Star Trek thing. He was amazing, and apparently a wonderful human being as well.
Yeah. He directed a few of the Star Trek movies, wrote, I think, one of the greatest Star Trek movies, Star Trek 4, where they come to San Francisco. They go back in time to 1986. And he directed subsequent and wrote subsequent Star Trek movies. So he was quite a talented fellow, more than just Mr. Spock.
Exactly.
And thank goodness, more than a singer. Although the Bitter Dregs ain't bad.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Compared to Bilbo Baggins or
yeah,
Lucy
we were playing some of the
Diamonds.
other stuff that not quite so good.
Man.
So what's up in your world this week?
Oh, well, tons of stuff. Net neutrality, of course, was really big news.
Yeah.
For us home theater geeks, because
why does it affect home theater geeks?
Well, if Netflix or some other company pays more money and gets more bandwidth or more priority over some smaller independent, then you're not going to see those independent sources of material.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a dog in this hunt since I am, in fact, an internet broadcaster, and we would.
Yeah, exactly.
Had there been this kind of tiered access. Now, by the way, this never happened. And one argument against what the FCC did is, in fact, two of the commissioners argued that, well, you're preventing a harm that doesn't exist. But I think there is some examples of, for instance, Comcast going to Netflix and saying, you're not going to get to our customers. Verizon does this too, or did it, in any reasonable speed. You're going to look terrible unless you give us extra money.
Yeah, exactly.
And Netflix gave in to both Comcast and Verizon, paying for what they call the interconnect. And this is one thing that the new regulations will specifically prohibit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if there hadn't, there is an example of paid prioritization,
That's
if
what
you
they
will.
call it, yeah.
Yeah, and that would have continued, and there were those in the FCC, I think, who would have wanted to encode that to make that legal and a regular practice, and that would have been a bad thing, in my opinion.
Well,
certainly for consumers.
Let the games begin, because of course Verizon, and we know AT&T has already said we're going to sue, and I'm sure Verizon and Comcast will as well.
Yep, I'm afraid so.
But okay, so that's one thing. What they call that is over the top. That is television or movies that you get over the top, over your internet connection, as opposed to through the cable company.
Or over the air.
Or over the air. And you can see how a company like Comcast, which is the biggest internet service provider in the country, is also the biggest cable television provider in the country, might see the internet as a threat to their business.
Absolutely, no question about it. And so, they would love to be able to prioritize certain things,
right?
But now they can't, and of course they're going to sue.
We as an over-the-top broadcaster,
exactly, an internet television station,
an internet television station, TWIT, which is my company, TWIT.TV, is an internet television station, and we are completely over the top.
Yep,
in many ways.
In many ways, yes, exactly.
What else is going on?
Well, there's this whole. I was reminded in the chat room about this whole blue dress, white dress thing.
Yeah, okay. This is the weirdest internet meme I've ever heard of. And you know what? I didn't think of it, but you're the right guy to ask. So this happened last week. Some guy posted, where did he post this on? On Reddit? Somewhere.
I don't remember exactly.
He posted a picture of what is, it seems to me, very clearly a gold and white dress.
Oh, you see it as gold and white, eh?
Okay, now don't get me started. So this dress that was posted, whatever color it might be, and he said, and this was a little puzzling because it's obviously a gold and white dress, is this gold and white or blue and black? Right?
Yes. And I'm looking at the picture right now, and guess what I see?
What?
Blue and black.
What?
Yeah.
What?
This is an amazing thing, actually.
This started on Thursday, and I don't know why but it has become, for some reason, the thing on the internet all of a sudden. Now, I guess it depends on how bright the photo is, right?
Well, yes, it's basically a demonstration of the adaptability and flexibility of the human visual system. And I've done. Yes.
You're telling me, I have, of course, if you're on the radio, you just have to imagine this, but I'm looking at the original image, which is in the middle. If you go, and this is from a Wired magazine article, which says this is why people are arguing over this. The one in the middle looks very clearly to me gold and white. And in fact, if you brighten the picture a little bit, or I guess change the white balance, it's clearly gold and white. On the other hand, if you white balance it in the opposite direction, it's blue and black.
Yep.
And you're saying the middle picture looks blue and black to you?
Yep, sure does. Absolutely.
You guys are crazy. Question. You guys are nuts. You guys are nuts.
I heard a radio story. I heard a radio story on this yesterday when the guy came on and said, well, I'm on team blue-black, and obviously the people on team white-gold should be put away.
What? But it's obviously white and gold. Wait a minute. You're telling me you look... Okay, I got to find the original. Where was it originally published? Do you know?
I don't.
It's lost in the midst of obscurity 3 whole days later. No one knows.
Yes. It was Instagram.
Wow.
I think it was Instagram where it was originally.
Was it?
Posted.
I mean, I've seen, and I became aware of it through all of the other people posting. Like Kevin Smith, the movie director, posted his hockey jersey and said, well, clearly blue and black to me. And I thought, what is he talking about? It's a red hockey. And then I started to see more posts, and I realized, oh, there's something going on. So you're saying this is individual differences in color vision?
Yes. And the lighting. Apparently, the way that the light strikes it, and in general, in the real world, we look out into the real world, and when it's late in the afternoon or early in the morning, there's a greater predominance of longer wavelengths of light in the illumination of what we see around us. Whereas at high noon, there's a more more of a predominance of
It was original. I found the original. It was originally posted on Tumblr.
Tumblr. Okay.
Okay, and it's SWIKED, swikes.tumblr.com. Her comment is, guys, big mistake, and please help me. Is this dress white and gold or blue and black? My friends and I can't agree, and we're freaking out.
Yes.
And then I'm looking at it, and I'm going, well, it's clearly... Wait a minute. Now... You're telling me you're looking at this picture and you see blue and black? I see... Okay, the white could be bluish. Oh, come on. Leo Laporte. I mean, you're not balancing my color TV ever again. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You're fired as a color calibration.
Oh, no, man.
Really? What do you see? What do you see?
Put up that picture again. Yeah, I absolutely see blue and black. No
well,
question.
not really like blue and black. You see a bluish white.
No, I see a deep blue and an absolute
You see a
black.
deep blue?
Yeah.
You see that blue? Yeah, you're nuts. It's all the guys who see blue and black. The women know what color it is. What do you say, Heather Hammond? There's only one woman in here. Oh, and there's another guy. Here's an Australian. He doesn't count.
We ran this test. It's not a boy-girl thing.
It's not a boy-girl thing.
No, because it's blue and black. Because
You see,
it is
Heather, you see blue and black?
Yeah.
You
Now-
see
now-
blue and black?
It's a blue dress with black lace. I know, it makes you wonder.
I see the bluishness in the white.
That is blue.
Well, there are shades of white. It's not the white is just not the absence of, color. It's
No. This is not just a subtle bluish white. To me,
It's
is
white.
an
It's blue.
absolute no question blue. No question whatsoever.
and the gold. Now we can all agree on the gold. The gold is clearly gold. There is
No.
that you see black?
I do, absolutely.
No,
Isn't
okay,
it
there's
Heather,
that
what
is
do you see?
bizarre. Yeah, it's gold.
Heather, what do you see?
It's black and blue.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, how do we drive around if we can't
How do
even
we
discern
survive?
between these colors? What about
This looks black
stoplights?
to you? When you see a wristwatch that's made of gold, do you see a black watch?
That's a good question.
What is wrong with you?
See how upsetting it is? It's bizarre.
This is why it has gone viral.
I can solve this problem very easily.
Yeah.
Let's ask the computer.
There's a good
They
article
don't put the
on,
color picker on here anymore. Thank you, Apple. They used to have a great color picker on here. Oh, there it is.
In Pages, if you open it in Pages, yeah, it'll colour pick it.
I'm going to download this color picker. We will trust this guy, right? This is a color picker. This will tell us exactly what color this dress is. If it says blue and black, I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to resign my place in... That is so weird. I didn't think it was a question. I thought, the people are seeing blue and black. They're just, they're slightly weird. But apparently, the majority of the people in here see blue and black. It's just you and me that see gold and white. And you see gold and white? Thank you. 1, 2, 3 versus... What do you see? Yeah. It's a tie.
It's a tie. I'll break the tie. I say it's blue and black.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah.
I
it's
didn't realize
it's a
this was really
fascinating thing.
controversial.
I think
Yeah.
only a quarter of people see white and gold.
What?
No, 75% see white and
It's the
I
other way
haven't seen the
around, she
st- the
says.
statistic
Only a
yet.
quarter see blue and black. Well, in this, here, let's see
Only
what the
a quarter
computer
of us
sees.
are right?
I don't think so.
That's typical.
I don't believe that. Yeah, that's typical. That should tell you, shouldn't it? Let me see here. Here's the color picker. Let's see. Where's the...
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I trust the color picker. Unbelievable. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Have you seen this picture? Now I'm really baffled. So we have a studio audience. There's 5 people in the studio audience. We have Heather. We have Scott. And we have my intern, Mario. We have Alex, my studio engineer. So we have a good sampling of people. I am going to now poll you. for those who believe that dress on the Tumblr blog, swiked.tumblr.com, is white and gold, please raise your hand. There's me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, black and blue? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a tie.
No, don't forget me.
Oh, crumb. I thought we'd hung up on you. So
man.
So you put it over the top as blue and black.
I see blue and black.
Can you explain why? Somebody's saying in the chat room, this isn't really suited to radio. I think it is. I think. In fact, it's better on radio because if you actually were sitting in your car looking at this picture right now, steam would be coming out of your ears.
And you wouldn't be watching the road.
Well, that's another problem. then it would be coming out of your radiator. But seriously, it's better to do this without looking at the picture and then be puzzled by the amazing discrepancy of a group of 8 people, 9, looking at this and being almost evenly divided about what color it is. And I'll tell you, for those of us who say it's one color, it's like, no, what are you talking about? It's not the other. So why is this? Explain it to me.
Well, I've only now just started to research it, so I can't give you a definitive answer. But
thanks a lot. You started this.
I can say I can say that the color scientists are talking about how what we see or what we think we see, what we perceive as visual, is very much it has nothing little to do with the actual wavelengths coming in, but all the processing in the brain.
Yeah, well, we know that because, in fact, due to the lenses in our eyes, the images that we're perceiving are actually upside down, for instance.
Right. Well, everything we see is
our brain writes it, and so we never even know. That's a fun little experiment you can do. But now, do you trust a computer to tell us?
Well, that's a very good question, actually. You were about to do a color picker thing and point to this dress and tell us what the computer says.
Oh, I don't think I have the right program. Do I?
No, too bad.
Yeah, maybe I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
All right. I'm clicking on it now. The computer says it's blue.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Let's try that again. Let's try the gold because the gold is the one that's obviously gold. It's blue and gold, everybody. You're all wrong.
Oh, how interesting. All right. What's weird is that
wait a minute. No, though, let me ask you. That swatch on the right that the computer picked, is that gold to you or black?
It looks gold in the computer.
That is the exact match to the gold that I clicked. So that's what's kind of interesting about this. And this does show, the white is bluish. So I'll grant you the bluish part.
Yeah, but it's not bluish white to me. It's blue.
That is bizarre. All right, well, but now given this, and by the way, I did make a kind of a joke, but you are, in fact, a color calibration guy. You calibrate televisions.
That's right. And I use instrumentation to do it, just like you did. Just like you did. Any color calibrationist will use instruments to calibrate. And then what we do is we say, okay, we've gotten the instrument readings to be as good as possible, as close as possible to what they're supposed to be. Then we look at real content. We look at movies and TV shows and so on to see if the images look natural, look realistic, because the calibration tools use test patterns, and we don't typically watch test patterns when we sit down to our home theater systems. And normally speaking, after I do a calibration and I look at some real content, I go, oh yeah, that looks great. And you've seen the results of a color calibration in your own televisions at home, which I did for you. And, you have said on many occasions that it looks more realistic than what it did before.
Yeah.
So there are, in most cases.
And it takes some getting used to, I have to admit.
It does take a little getting used to. It's dimmer than you expect. It's not as vibrant, perhaps. But it does more accurately represent what you see out there.
So Wired Magazine interviews a neuroscientist at the University of Washington, a visual expert, Jay Knights. And he says our visual system is supposed to throw away information about what he calls the illuminant, the amount of light bouncing off of the object, and extract information about the actual reflectance.
Yep.
I'm sorry, the illuminant is the light that's lighting it. The reflectance is the color of the image.
Right. That's the light reflecting off the object
Right.
that enters our eyeball.
And that's something that doesn't really come up on a television set because it's all. And by the way, this happens. We get this question
Yes
a
and
lot
no.
because people are trying to color balance. They take a picture of something.
Yeah.
They look at it on the screen and they want it to print in the color that they think they've seen. But
Yep.
the problem is a print is a reflective color, like this dress.
Correct. Yes.
And what you're seeing on the screen, as with the television, is transmissive. It's light coming at you of certain colors.
Emissive. Yes.
Emissive. So it's
Exactly
a different
right.
way of
However-
making color.
Yes. However, what you want to see on a TV screen is a reproduction of what are called surface colors, the reflective colors.
Which is difficult to do, just as making a
It's
print
yes.
that matches what the computer and the camera saw is very
Yep.
difficult.
Yes, very difficult to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And there are plenty of optical illusions that illustrate the
We've seen-
vagaries.
yeah. So
Vagaries
Knights,
of
by
human
the way,
perception.
the neuroscientist, he says, I've studied individual differences in color vision for 30 years. And he says this image, this weird viral image on the internet is the biggest I've seen in all of that time. But
Isn't
by the
that
way,
amazing?
he sees white and gold too, so he's right. Scott, thank you for sticking around for a little extra time too.
Oh, my pleasure.
This is fascinating.
It really is.
And it is why people who are calibrating your TV will use instrumentation, not just eyeballs.
Yes, yes. And that is the only way to get a completely accurate picture.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Have fun.
And it is actually a perfect conversation for the radio because we're taking out the one thing that makes people upset, which is the actual picture, because you can't agree. It's like baffling. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, no, that James over there is saying, no, that's clearly black and blue. And I'm saying, what are you, crazy? It's not. It's obvious. But
I love optical illusions.
I
They're
love internet
so
memes.
cool. Well, there you go. Everybody listening to the radio can now go and look up this thing and see for themselves.
Yeah, all you have to do is Google black dress, blue dress, white and gold, or go to the direct. And I would do this, the original posting, which, by the way, has a profanity in it. So don't bring the kids along.
Yeah.
It's SW, if they're sensitive. Most kids have heard worse than I've ever heard.
Yeah, right.
SWIKED.tumblr.com.
Hey, but you know what? You just give me a great idea, which is to post that picture on AVS and ask the question. Do a poll. Do you see this as white as
Might
gold?
as well. What
And
color is
see
your
what the-
beard, Scott? Is it gold or white?
It's pure white.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Pure white.
Just want to make sure the world as I know has not come to the end. All right. Thank you, Scott. Scott Wilkinson.
Thank you, Leo.
He'll post that poll. You can participate. avsforum.com. Mark, you've been very patient. Mark in Santa Ana has been hanging on the line. Hi, Mark.
Hey, yeah, we were split evenly, men between women, blue and gold for the guys. I mean, blue and black for the guys. So
I guess I'm a girl. I don't know.
One of us, it could just be an estrogen level issue.
Thanks. I got low T. What can I do for you?
Actually, my wife, she was telling me that she heard that Commodia actually comes down when you download Java and don't uncheck Give Me Junkware, that Commodia is part of the download.
I don't know if that's the case. Oracle has started to bundle something called adware into its Java download. It's really important. Very important. First of all, don't download Java unless you need it. If you do download Java, make sure you uncheck all that extra stuff. You don't need it. You don't want it. This is just a ploy by Oracle to make money off of you, to put spyware or adware, or I would call it malware, on your machine. They wouldn't. And then also, another thing very important to do is make sure that Java does not load automatically in your browser. There are security issues with that. I really want to talk about this issue. So we talked last week, and I excoriated Lenovo for bundling trialware software on its machines called Superfish. The Superfish program modified how you surf the net and put ads in your feed. But it turns out it had something in it that was far worse. We'll talk about it, and I'll explain this to you, Mark, when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. By the way, here's the second photo of the dress from BuzzFeed, because it was BuzzFeed that really put this over. And by the way, you're going to all be very happy about this. That's the original photo. right? And then here's the actual dress. You ready to learn the truth? It's, by the way, the people are arguing over this photo. So what the truth is kind of irrelevant. What? Mary, the mother of bride wearing... What? Holy cow. Okay, it's blue and black. But that picture has blown it out. That's why. But, I mean, you and I would agree that's blue and black. That's obviously blue and black. But in this photo, it's blown out, right? It's just color. It's a color balance issue. I think that's pretty obvious. Right? Left, white, gold. Right, blue, black. The people who see this properly know. That is so funny. I didn't realize it was controversial. I mean, I knew it was controversial, but I didn't understand why. The company makes 2 versions of the dress. This is confirmed. People are actually now going out to get the dress to see. Oh, Lord above. Lordy, lordy. This is actually a great subject.
It's a radio show.
Yeah, you can walk across. There's no... I mean, some people will see you. That's tech, user 1001. That is tech. I think that's tech for several reasons. First of all, it's an internet meme. Oh, look at this. The dress. They're putting a hashtag, the dress, in the window. That is so funny. So they sell both a black and white and a blue and white, blue and black. They do not sell a gold in any respect. There is no gold version. It's so funny. Now there's a debate over who would buy such an ugly dress. Well, that's a... This is funny. This is the website for the company, and they do make this dress. I'm sorry, Scott. I completely forgot about you. They do make this dress in 4 colors. There's blue and black. There's red and black. Black and pink, it looks like. And blue and black. There is in no case is there any gold. It's called the royal dress. This is so funny. I'm sorry, Scott. I'll give you a little bit of time anyway.
No, that's fine. By the way, on that picture there from Amazon or wherever it was, with the blue dress, did you see it as blue and black?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, it has to do with the illumination.
It's white balance. It's totally
white
balance.
balance.
It's how much it's the light and so forth.
But the fact that people could be so divergent in their perception of it, it reminds me very much of what's called metamerism, which is another optical illusion kind of thing that has to do with TVs. If you have primary colors, red, green, and blue, that are very narrow, like, for example, from lasers and some LEDs, then people are going to disagree more about what they see on the screen, as opposed to primaries that are wideband, that have a wide spread of actual wavelengths in them, or the sun, which is basically a flat amount of color of wavelengths all the way from red to blue. So this is something of great concern, actually, to those of us who are expecting at some point to have TVs that use what's called BT 2020 color gamut, because those red, green, and blue colors are single wavelength colors.
Interesting.
Producible only by lasers. And if we get there, if we get TVs and monitors that actually have that, people aren't going to see the same thing.
Which is really interesting. And that's I think this is why it's very appropriate for you and me to discuss this. Hey, thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, talking computers, the internet, smartphones. Yeah, and internet memes, you bet. Smartphones, home theater, digital photography, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, please. I'm not taking any calls on what color that dress is, okay? 888-827-5536. Incidentally, the company that makes that dress reports sales increase of 700% since Thursday. It's 2 days. People are going out and buying that ugly dress. I don't understand it. Maybe because they want to say, hey, what color's my dress? What do you think? Fascinating. We were talking about something much more important with Mark in Santa Ana. His wife is concerned about something called Commodia. And we talked last week about the Superfish malware, and I'm going to call it malware, that was put on computers by Lenovo. Lenovo has since apologized, offered a tool to remove it. They should never have put it on. The program Superfish was designed to watch your browsing. I mean, you tell me if this is malware. Watch your browsing, see what you're looking at on websites, and then put ads on that website related to that. So if you're looking at a blue and gold dress, you might see an additional ad. This is not an ad provided by the original website, nor is it covering ads by the website, but it's adding more ads. And Lenovo's excuse was, oh, we know customers want this. They do not. Nobody wants more ads. That's ridiculous. But there's a much more sinister problem with this. They weren't just watching your everyday web traffic. They wanted to watch you as you shopped on secure sites like Amazon.com. So they went to a company called Commodia, with a K, and bought a tool that breaks secure website technology. So you know when you go to a site, or you think when you go to a site, HTTPS, that it's a private conversation, encrypted conversation between you and the site, your bank, an e-commerce site, things like that. Turns out it's not, and you can verify this because if you look at the certificate, if you've been infected, it won't say Amazon, Bank of America, it'll say Commodia. Worse, the company, Commodia, that made this software must have been 12-year-olds. Actually, that's an insult to 12-year-olds. They coded it so poorly that it's a massive security flaw. First of all, everybody who uses this software, which means everybody who has Superfish or any of the programs that use Commodia on their computer, it's the same key. They all have the same key, which means a hacker knows now your secure software key. And the password is Commodia. Good password. Never think of that. So it's a security flaw that Lenovo introduced by using Superfish. The bad news is that Superfish is not the only company that uses Commodia software. Hundreds of programs do. The list of programs that do is getting longer and longer. I don't know, to answer your question, if Java includes a program like this, but I'll give you an example. We've talked before about how downloads.com, the CNET site that offers software downloads, and now lately has been wrapping it with their own downloader, which introduces additional programs. Now you get to say no, and be very careful. Make sure you say no, because of those programs, some, at least two, have Commodia on them. Once installed, it has to be removed or your system is no longer secure, period. Not just to the people who made that software, but to anybody. So to answer your question, Mark, if your wife downloaded Java from Oracle and accepted the free stuff that they gave her, she should uninstall that now. The other good news is all the antivirus companies, including Microsoft, are now looking for Commodia and removing it. So if you have an antivirus, if even Microsoft Security Essentials, or if you have Windows 8 Defender, will remove it. I think Microsoft's malware tool, MRT, will also remove it automatically. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. And by the way, for the net neutrality thing,
yeah,
since the government policies made Internet a utility,
right,
the FCC might as well regulate them like a utility.
Well, first of all, it does seem like a broadband provider is a telecommunications company, not an information service.
But the point is, it's the lack of competition. In other words, there's no competition for your gas company or the electric company, and that's what makes it a utility. Not what it is, but the fact that there's only one place to get it.
Yeah, and people do blame the FCC for that, but I would point out that when these conversations were happening, they were told by the cable companies, if you were to regulate us in any way, we would have to stop investing in infrastructure. We would stop building broadband. And the FCC said, well, and this is the real challenge, is these companies, this is why they have a monopoly, why your cable company has a monopoly in your town, is because they said, well, it's so expensive to trench cable in, we want a monopoly for 10 years or 20 years or forever. And the FCC did give them that right. So the FCC did create this problem, but they created it, I believe, because they were essentially being blackmailed by broadband providers who said, hey, we need a monopoly. If you don't give it to us, we ain't going to do it. Furthermore, the FCC's second vote on a Thursday was maybe as important. The FCC said that they were going to invoke rules that would prevent state legislatures from banning municipal internet. There's some great cities like Chattanooga, which is kind of a poster child for this, who have decided we're not getting great internet from the companies who are providing it into town, our cable company and our phone company. So we're going to do it as just like sometimes the water, the power, these are municipalities provide water, for instance. We're going to do it like that. And Chattanooga has gigabit Ethernet. It's very affordable. They have a variety of different providers on top of their infrastructure. It works really well. And according to the FCC, at least 20 states have now banned that at the behest, I believe, of the big cable companies and the telecoms who say, you can't have the city compete with us. We're private enterprise. You shouldn't have government involved. And that wins over a lot of legislators and the FCC. And I think the second vote was just as important because it shows the FCC wants competition. And I think competition, you're exactly right, is the solution in the long run. That's the only solution. I agree. And I understand why people are a little bit afraid of FCC and government regulation on the Internet. The Internet has succeeded, essentially has succeeded because nobody was paying any attention. But what does happen, and this has happened before, there's a lot of examples. A fellow named Tim Wu has written an excellent book on this called The Master Switch. When these things, and he uses as an example the long-distance system, which was very much like the early days of the Internet. A lot of companies, a lot of different ways of doing it, very fertile, lots of innovation. But as soon as it became financially profitable, I mean like really profitable, AT&T moved in and said, that's great, nice job, we'll take it from here. We got it, we got this thing. And did, in fact, as you know, for many years, own long distance in the United States. The fear is this, and Tim Wu says this will happen with the Internet, it will happen with any new technology like this. So that's the fear. So what you don't want is, as chairman of the FCC, Tom Wheeler, said, you don't want the broadband companies planning the future of the Internet because, frankly, they have a strong financial interest in doing it in doing it differently, doing it from not open, but to charge Internet companies like mine for access to their customers. That's a big moneymaker. And I think the only way you can, that's understandable. They're a private business. They don't have a obligation to protect, society's best interests. They have an obligation to make as much money as they can. The best way for Comcast and Verizon and AT&T to make money, go to these internet content companies and say, you have to pay us for access to our customers. Our customers pay, and now you pay. And the only way to prevent that, in my opinion, is to have government regulations preventing that. You just have to say you can't do it. And there are examples of government regulations that work. Antitrust regulations work. We need antitrust regulations. Nobody disagrees on that. I do agree that the best solution would be competition. And until we have that, though, I think you've got to, once there's competition, once you have a choice, do you have a choice? 86% of Americans have two choices for high-speed internet, the phone company and the cable company. That's not a choice. That's not a choice. As soon as we have a choice, then let the market rule. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888, Ask Leo. Let's talk. When you say O'Reilly High Tech, it's Bill O'Reilly, not Tim O'Reilly. Because Tim O'Reilly is very much in favor of Title II regulation. The New York Times quoted had a good article that said the Netherlands has done this kind of Title II regulation for several years, and it's worked quite well for them. So, but you're right. You got what we'll have to do. I'm watching you, FCC. We'll have to watch them. Early news from Spain. Oh, I don't know. We have... I should mention this. Tomorrow morning at 9 Pacific, I'm coming in early because we're going to do the Samsung press conference. And it'll be me and Andy Anako, I think. and maybe somebody else. So that's going to be fun. Well, Limbaugh's wrong. Won't be the first time I've ever said that. Probably not the last either. Of course there's a chance for competition. In fact, that second vote was about competition. It was about preventing lobbyists from the big cable and the big wireless companies from telling state legislatures to prevent municipal internet. Municipal internet is a great solution because it is fundamentally competitive, because the idea is that the municipality provides the infrastructure and then opens its infrastructure to many companies like SonicNet and DSL Extreme and as internet providers on top. So you get price competition, you get a huge amount of competition. You might have 100 choices instead of 2. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 asks Leo, I apologize. We spent a long time talking about a lot of stuff. Now let's take your calls. I totally apologize. 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Daytona Beach, Paul, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks for your patience. Oh,
hi, Leo.
Hey, Paul.
Thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it. I have a friend who has ALS. She's completely paralyzed.
So sorry.
I got her a Tobii eye tracker, which allows her to move her eyes on the screen and click
so cool
on places on the screen.
So cool, yeah.
So what we need to do now, though, is give her the ability to control objects, such as turn on the TV, turn on a fan near her to help cool her off.
Right.
All the home control devices that I've seen are either Android-based or iOS-based. And I was wondering if you knew of anything, or your chat room knew of anything that was Microsoft-based, that we could, as long as we can click it with a mouse, you can control it.
So ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, same thing Stephen Hawking, the great physicist, suffers from. He uses a single muscle in his cheek to control his device. And of course, because he's Stephen Hawking, he has custom software. It's really amazing what he's able to do. Write books, give speeches, and I imagine that he has everything. If he wants to turn on the TV and turn it off, he can. But that's all, as far as I know, that's mostly custom stuff made for him. And one of the issues with accessibility, of course, is everybody has different abilities. So she can move her eyes. He can use a cheek muscle. Some people use puff sticks because they can blow. There's all sorts of ways to do this. I am not an expert because in many cases this has to be customized for the situation specifically, and I don't know off the top of my head. I will ask the chat room. There is Battle Cam in our chat room says he uses Insteon, which is a home automation company. That they have a Windows 8 app. So Insteon, Insteon, might do the job for you. But there should be an independent living resource center in your area that is more expert on adaptive technologies, certainly, than I am. Is there somebody there around that can help you, a nonprofit in your area that can help you?
No, we've looked at all that. I even started a website for her, but I'm not very social media adept, and it hasn't gone where I wanted it to, and we've only collected a little bit of money for her.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is that she's in Marietta. I'm here in Florida. We chat together using text because she can text with a phone.
That's great.
With this Tobii eye tracker.
Right.
And the problem is that she just doesn't have a whole lot of people to care for her.
Yeah. Oh, I have my deepest sympathy to you, and good for you for helping her. Good for her for soldiering on. I'm not an expert on this subject, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying Plum. I guess that's PLUM. Has apps on all platforms. I'm not familiar with it. Homeseer. Thank you, chat room, by the way. Chat room's great in this kind of situation. Homeseer has PC software for home automation. So it might be a home automation solution is the solution that you want for this.
Yeah, I think so. It's tough because there seems to be so much that's iOS based, and this is Android based. I wonder, can I shamelessly give you her website?
Yeah, you want to give a plug out? This is to raise money for her care. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I made it simple. I bought her the domain of helpanet.com.
ANNETTE.
Yes, Help Annette, and that will tell her whole story. It's a very sad story. Her husband left her. She has no money, and it's
I'm
tough.
so sorry.
Right.
Well, and she's not alone. There are a lot of people. So you're using a service called GoFundMe, which is I've seen a lot of people use GoFundMe for exactly this kind of thing. Watch the video. I'm looking at it right now. Get to know Annette, and she needs a lot of help, and I'm glad to give you a little plug.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for sticking by her. That's really great, Paul. That's what family's for. Ed in it's often a thankless task too. Ed in Rancho Mirage, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Leo. Can you hear me?
I hear you great.
Okay, great show so far. By the way, the dress was white and gold.
Of course, you're right. I don't understand why there's any question.
I don't get it either. This one was manufactured controversy, like reality TV?
I thought it was until I got these 9 people, and the disagreement was very clear. So it is, in fact, that's what's interesting about this. In fact, I dismissed it exactly as that, a manufactured controversy, until I saw all the traffic on the internet. Just amazing. What can I do for you?
Oh, what you can do for me is I need some advice. My Android HTC One, which I love, but it went bad, so I got a newer one, and I don't know. I get the sense that it's been hacked into, and like basically, because I never even turned on the GPS or the internet aspect of it. I'm just using it as a phone. And still, I get the sense that someone is able to track me with it. So I'm not using it. I want to know, is there a dumb phone I can get where I don't have to worry about this?
Every cell phone made is trackable, period.
Oh, really?
Well, it has to be, because in order to use the cell phone, you have to connect to a cell tower, don't you? Now, one would think, oh, well, that doesn't tell them where I am. I'm just within the radius of the reach of the cell tower. That could be a pretty big area, right? Well, but because of triangulation, if they watch you sufficiently, they could see the handoff. If what you're worried about is being followed, do not have a cell phone. Isn't that in every spy movie ever? You know, the Bourne Identity, right? Jason Bourne, he's driving away the young woman. It's very sexist. The woman who's, oh my gosh, they're after me, James, help me. And she jumps in his car, and first thing he does, what's the first thing he does? He takes her cell phone and he smashes it, he throws it out the window. That's the first thing he does. So the GPS gives them a little more accuracy, but frankly, they don't need that, because they can do something called triangulate the cell towers and get pretty darn close to where you are. And by the way, do you use a credit card? We leave, in the modern world, we leave such a trail of data behind us that it is very simple for people to track you. Now, it's not simple for your neighbor to track you. It's not even very simple for a hacker to track you. The problem is, who is it simple to track you? It's the government. It's simple for the government to track you because they have built this massive apparatus to collate every bit of data that you're spewing out into the world, cross-reference it. And now, are they after you? I doubt it. I don't think you sound like a bad guy. But they do have it. And should they decide to be after you, it wouldn't be a difficult thing to look at the data from the last few years. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Alex, my studio engineer today, is a little bit groggy, a little tired. And I said, what's going on? He said, well, this happened to us too. Lisa and I, it's like 10 o'clock, it's bedtime. Got a big show in the morning. Gotta go to bed. And oh my gosh, House of Cards is out on Netflix. And they don't just release one episode. They release the whole season. Season 3 came out yesterday on Netflix. We had planned to watch it. We just forgot. 10 at night. Do we watch it? Alex said, Yeah, that happened to me at 1 in the morning. I went, oh, House of Cards. I said, did you watch it? He said, a couple episodes. No wonder you're groggy. Are you a House of Cards fan, Heather Hammond?
Yeah, but I haven't started yet, so don't say anything.
I don't know. I didn't watch anything.
Well, but I think when we talked about it before, it was like, it's like Lay's potato chips. You can't just have one.
You can't just have one.
Start going crazy. And then it does give you kind of some crazy dreams, I think.
Well, and Lisa said, I said, okay, we'll watch it Saturday night. She said, nope. I'm getting my laptop and I'm watching it in bed. I said, you can't do that. She said, I am. I said, that's cheating. You are cheating on me. That is, isn't it? It's the modern form.
This is a marriage breaker.
It's that's a deal breaker, ladies. I said, you can't. She said, I was just teasing you. I'm not going to watch it. But I think that happens now. In fact, wasn't there an ad where, I've seen this ad where people are pretending when the big moment happens and something horrible and your spouse goes, oh my, and you're just going, oh, that's terrible. Who would have thought that was going to happen? You
pushed her off a train platform.
You watched, hey, you watched the whole thing, didn't you? You didn't tell me. Well, I couldn't sleep. You watched 10 episodes? Yeah.
That's like starting, I don't know, a really good dessert that you swore you'd share together. And then they try to move the frosting around and make it look like it's not missing.
It's terrible. It's terrible. So we have a date. This is a date night. We're going to watch. Usually we can't do more than 3 or 4 episodes. That's 4 hours sitting there watching. That's a lot. It's kind of, but you're right. It's one of those things where you start watching it, you can't stop. It's like Lay's potato chips. You can't just watch one. Just for those who don't know, House of Cards is a Kevin Spacey television show. Originally, I know the producer, Dana Bernetti, and we were interviewing him. He said, originally we were going to sell this to a big, cable network, something like HBO. We were a day from the deal, and we get a call from Netflix. And they say, I think the estimate was $100 million an episode, a season. We'll give you, a huge chunk of change. Dana didn't tell me, but I think I've seen that later. And you control everything, and you can release all the shows at once. And they did the deal with Netflix. They said, okay. And I don't think it was solely money. I think they liked the idea of doing a whole season and then releasing it all at once. You have to understand that doing a weekly TV show is a grind. You finish an episode, and you literally have to get right back on the horse and start shooting because you've got 7 days. You've got to have it written. You've got to have it edited. You've got to have it out. And so I think there's somewhat of a luxury to have a lot of money to produce an episode, and then you can maybe take 10 days instead. Take a little more time and then release it all at once. So 3rd season of House of Cards, which has been, by the way, if you haven't seen it and you have Netflix, start with season 1, number 1, and just go all the way through. It's Kevin Spacey's brilliant in it. But the 3rd season came out last night, all at once. I don't know how many episodes. Is it 13? Is it? I don't know. All at once. And there are people who have finished it. I guarantee you by now. 8888 ask Leah. Patricia is next in Escondido, California. Hi, Patricia.
Hi. Just want to let you know I never liked listening to tech before, but ever since I got my iPad a couple of years ago, I listen to you all the time.
I think that what's happened is that everybody's using tech now, right? In your phone and your...
I'm 67, but I'm getting there.
You're a geek.
And I want to congratulate you on your recent marriage.
Thank you.
Okay.
Even geeks can get a girl once in a while. Just goes to show you there's hope yet, guys.
I mentioned what my problem was to your call screener, and I don't think she'd heard of it either. But my iPad is less than 2 years old, and I made the mistake of packing it full of pictures, and I had like 12,000 at one point.
Oh!
Yeah, and it kind of messed things up, and I've been into the Apple Store a couple of times, and now I'm down to like 6,000.
That's still a lot.
And I've never heard anybody calling with my problem.
Well, let me ask first, do you have a computer at all?
No, but I have an iPhone.
Yeah, so that's the issue is that, and this is a problem. I mean, the whole idea when the iPad first came out was you would connect it to a computer. That's how you would, establish the account.
Yeah, I know I can transfer stuff to a regular computer.
Right,
but
it's kind of set up as that you can take it off, put it on the computer. You haven't lost anything, but you're right. If you don't have a computer, this is your computer.
Yeah, but now I know that by deleting a lot of pictures, I know everything's in there because I see it once in a while. So I'm now down to like 6,000 pictures. And the more that I delete, the more access I have to files.
Yeah, there's limited space on any device. And if you have 12,000 pictures, it's likely you've filled it up.
Yeah. And I went overboard. But anyway.
No, and that's understandable. If Apple's selling this as a standalone device, which they are, then you shouldn't need a computer. Now, they do offer something called iCloud. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, and I have that, and my storage is kind of full up on there, too.
Yeah, you have to buy more if you want it. So this is the problem.
Anyway, so I'm down to like 6,000, but the last time I went to the Apple store, they kind of, without asking me, just deleted a lot of my apps and said you can bring them up again. So all I have is the apps that come with the computer.
Well, that's one way to deal with it. Just delete all the apps.
Yeah, but now what happened is a lot of my pictures on my camera roll, I want to post to Facebook, to my news feed. But when I try to do that, it tells me I don't have a Facebook account. When I go to settings and I go onto Facebook, it says installed, which it is because I can get everything on my iPhone, and it says my password is wrong. And then it says error signing in, the operation couldn't be completed. Coco Arrow 4097.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I see that a lot. Is that bad?
No, it's meaningless, is what it is. Computer companies should not do this. I yell at them. I've been yelling at them for 20 years. Error messages are not for users. They're for programmers. They mean nothing to users, and there's nothing you can do with them in general.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. First of all,
I can get Safari, but
Yeah, let me talk for a sec. First of all, you need to get your Facebook account working. You cannot post to Facebook until you've properly logged into Facebook. This is true of anything, but it's especially true on the iPad because the Facebook, when you've logged into your Facebook account on your iPad, the iPad knows that. And now programs that let you share to Facebook go, oh, yeah, she's got a Facebook account. But before you can do that, you have to be properly logged onto your Facebook account. So you can do that simply by installing the Facebook app. Maybe the Apple folks deleted it. If you've got the wrong password, well, you're not going to be able to log in. You need to log in and be looking at your Facebook on the Facebook app. If the computer still seems confused by this, it may be due to a lack of storage. You know, when you run out of storage, lots of things go funky. Or it could be that something's gone wrong with the Facebook login. In that case, you can go to your settings and modify those. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, riding the crazy train, the crazy tech train. 8888 ask Leo. Poor Annette. I mean, I feel for Annette because computers are still not really as easy as they ought to be. And they're probably barely a consumer device at this point. But the promise of the iPad, of smartphones, is that, a kid, 2-year-old, no problem, anybody could use this. You don't have to know anything. And unfortunately, you do. Boy, I wish you didn't. I wish it was as easy to use as a toaster. But, I mean, really, you didn't know how to use your VCR either, did you? We didn't know how to. I mean, you have to read the manual on your microwave, so it's kind of like that. It's easier, but there are a few things. The iPad, it's interesting. When Apple envisioned the iPad originally, I think it really saw it as a standalone device, but it wasn't at first. You had to connect it to a computer. You could not start without it. You had to use iTunes. Over time, Apple has made it a wireless device that ultimately doesn't require a computer. But that's only in the last couple of years. And there are some things that come up. For instance, since it's your sole one and only computer, you want to put all your photos on it. You can't. There's not enough room. Even if you buy a 128 gigabyte iPad, the biggest they make, it's easy to run out of room with. But apps can be a gigabyte. There are giant apps out there. And then you add your photos and your movies and you put some TV shows on there. You're full in no time. The only solution, really, at this point, I'm glad in that you went to the Apple store, but the only solution at this point is to buy more cloud storage. That's internet storage. They call it iCloud. It's not free. You have to pay a yearly fee and all of that, but it's not horribly expensive. It's certainly cheaper than buying a computer. And you need to move photos onto the cloud. That's your not only is it additional storage, it's your backup. Because if you think about it, if you've got 12,000 pictures on your iPad and you lose it, you've lost them. You must back up to iCloud, and you must get a big enough account to back up your entire iPad. Do that now. Do that first. Next step, I would start over on the iPad. I would literally restore it from scratch, reset it. And you could do that in the settings. You have to really say, I mean this. You want to completely go back to scratch on the iPad, as if it just came from the store. And now log into your Facebook account. Now, if your Facebook password is wrong, if you've changed it and forgot, or something's wrong with it, you're going to have another issue. You've got to recover your Facebook password. You can do that. Facebook gives you a way to do that. You have to have an email address and so forth. Best way to verify that is to log in. If you can't use Safari on your iPad, it sounded like it wasn't working either, your browser. Go to the library, use theirs, and just log into your Facebook account to see if it works. If Facebook still says, no, that's the wrong password, your password either is changed or you've forgotten it. Something went wrong. You need to recover or make a new password on Facebook. So my advice is, step one, upgrade your iCloud to be big enough to hold everything on your iPad. That's going to cost you, $20 or $30 a year, something like that. Step two, wipe your iPad, start over. The Apple Store can help you do that if you can't figure it out, but it's in the settings. It's in general settings. It's basically reset, and you'll go to the most drastic reset, which is start from scratch, wipe it all out. Apple remembers now that's after you've backed up. Let the backup complete. That may take a few days, but after you've backed up, now you can reset it, reinstall the apps. It remembers what apps you had. So if you go to the App Store, you can see what apps you've already purchased, download the ones. Just get the ones you really want. I think it's kind of not right for Apple employees to just delete stuff. They probably overstepped their bounds a little bit there. But re-download what you want. Put the pictures on there that you really want on there. Maybe it's the pictures you want to show friends and family and stuff. But don't overburden it, because you do need some free space. You need free space for updates. You need several gigabytes of free space for updates, if nothing else. So you don't want to fill that thing up. 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. Dave in Anaheim. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Leo. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Personally, I believe that the dress is white and gold, primarily because I know what black and blue looks like. Those are my high school boxing team colors.
Appropriate for a boxing team's colors to be black and blue, I might add, yeah.
Yes.
Not a very good boxing team.
No, actually. Okay, here's the deal. Way back when I had XP, I completely gutted my system, replaced everything, the motherboard, the memory, everything except the hard drives. And it asked me to insert the original disk to make sure that I had a legit version of Windows.
Right.
Okay. Well, when Microsoft stopped supporting XP, I upgraded to 7, and now I'm considering doing the same thing, getting a new motherboard, all that stuff. I was told by a guy at the place where I was going to buy the gear that I may have to completely rebuy a new version of Windows 7.
No, he's wrong. So but I understand why he said that. Let me explain what's going on. Microsoft, first of all, is extremely, and has been from day one, extraordinarily paranoid about piracy. Bill Gates, in the earliest days of Microsoft, when all they had was a basic language that they were selling to Apple and CPM users, it came on paper tape, very famously went to the Homebrew Computer Club, the one computer club in the world, and yelled at them, saying, "You guys are stealing our basic. You're stealing our paper tape. Don't do that." And he was the very DNA of Microsoft is paranoid about piracy. And what that means is Windows is heavily copy protected. There's more than one layer. So the layer you're going to run up against is in a name worthy of George Orwell's 1984 called Windows Genuine Advantage. It is not an advantage. It is a disadvantage. It verifies the genuineness of the Windows you're using. And the way it does this, and Microsoft's never told us all the details, but the way it does it is by looking at your hardware and making effectively a number that is based on all of the hardware in your computer, your motherboard, your network card, your hard drive. If that number doesn't match, Microsoft says, oh, well, you're installing it in a different computer. What they've never told us is, well, how much can I change my network card? Oh, yeah, you can do that. Can I change my network card and hard drive? Maybe. Can I change my network hard drive and motherboard? That's when you're going to trigger genuine advantage. At some point, by changing enough stuff, as you did, Windows is going to say this is not a genuine version of Windows. Now, the guy who's telling you had to buy a new copy of Windows, well, that's one way around it. But you can call Microsoft, and you can say to them, and I found this works. I know a number of people have done this. You can call them and say, look, I rebuilt my computer. I replaced some parts. Can you reset my Windows Advantage, genuine advantage? Can you reset it so that I can actually use my computer? And I understand that Microsoft's pretty good about that. It is possible that they'll say, well, no, sir, that's a new computer. And in which case you would have to buy a new serial number. You don't even have to buy a copy of Windows. You just buy a new serial number and use it. But in most cases, it's been my experience that Microsoft's they understand. Look, I had to upgrade the motherboard and the hard drive, but it's still me. It's the same computer. The old computer I'm using the same chassis. You tell them what's the same. You triggered Windows Genuine Advantage. You triggered the copy protection in Windows. And most of the time, by calling Microsoft, you can get them to untrigger it. Can't promise, but my experience has been they're pretty good about that. That is, by the way, just one of many layers. I think there's 3 layers of copy protection on Windows. It's a nasty. They do not trust you. And contrast that to Apple. Now, remember, Apple makes its money not from the operating system, but from selling the computers. But there is no serial number on OS X. There's no copy protection. You can install it 100 times. They don't care. But they don't have to care because the only computer you can install it on is a Mac computer. It's usually pretty good. They're usually pretty good. And the chat room's confirming that you have... Uncle Bick in our chat room says, I've done this many times. They're great. I only had to give an explanation once or twice. It's usually pretty straightforward. Phil in Reno, Nevada, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Phil.
Hello there. How are you, sir?
I am well. How are you?
I'm just fine, and I want to go on record as saying I am in the white and gold camp in the dress.
James is just shaking his head, said, you are so wrong. So wrong. I am the white and gold camp, too. It's bizarre. We're talking about this dress thing. I don't understand.
Well, you can tell by the intelligence of people. Us smart. White and gold.
This is why the person who said that you should not be talking about this on the radio. The radio is the perfect place because we eliminate the picture, and then we can have the abstract conversation about the fact that people disagree over this. When you actually get the picture, you look at it, you go, well, it's obviously white and gold.
I know. Other people just don't see it. I look at it anyway.
I know, it's baffling. Oh, we got to take a break. Hang on, okay? You'll be the first caller in the next hour. This white and gold thing will never die. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Our show today brought to you by Gazelle. I love Gazelle. Thank goodness for Gazelle, because if it weren't for Gazelle, I'd be broke, frankly. I'm always getting new phones, new gadgets, new hardware, and Gazelle's the place to unload the old. That's not a nice way to put it, but that's what it is. Unload the old stuff. They'll actually give you cash money for your old gadgets, old iPods, old iPhones, iPads, Samsung. You got a Galaxy phone, Gazelle will buy it. They'll even buy, I don't know why, Blackberries. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a Blackberry? If you have a Blackberry sitting in your drawer, they'll buy it. They may not give you a lot. You got a Blackberry? Is that the new one? Is that the classic?
This is a Bold.
A Bold? AT&T, who's the AT&T? I can't imagine this is worth much, but let's just see. No, they're not buying the Bold. Only the Q10 or the Z10. The Bold's too old. But they will buy MacBooks and Macs and Apple TVs. They'll buy iPods. They'll buy Samsung, Microsoft, Google tablets. You got a Nexus you want to get rid of? Gazelle. Now, they don't just buy. They take the best stuff. Go ahead. You can put that bolt away and keep it forever. Is that your actual phone? No, you have a real phone. No, that's my work phone. That's your work. Oh, work gave you that. You can't sell it. But that looks like a nice big, what is that? Note 3. Yeah, see, here's a guy who knows his phones. You can also buy phones if you lose your phone or you break it or you just want to save some money. Gazelle takes the best stuff sent to Gazelle and will sell it. Of course, before they sell it, they go through a very elaborate 30-point inspection to make sure that not only the phone's fully functional but in great shape. They sell two conditions. Certified like new. That really is a new phone that they got. You know, somebody opened it and said, I don't want this. And then certified good, which will show some gentle signs of wear, but is fully functional and will save you a lot of money. And of course, certified pre-owned phones from Gazelle are backed by their 30-day risk-free return policy. So this is a great way to get a replacement phone, to get a new phone, and to sell the old one. If you're throwing your old gadgets in a drawer, let them collect dust. It's like throwing $100 bills in the drawer. Don't do that. Go to Gazelle. By the way, your quote is good for 30 days. You don't have to decide right away. It gives you time to get the new device and, move your data over. If you forget to erase your device, you should always erase products before selling them. But if you can't or you forget, don't worry, Gazelle will do that. They pay for the shipping, and they will turn it around fast. So you get a check or a PayPal credit or an Amazon gift card. And here's a little pro tip. They bump those up by 5%. So if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, get the gift card. Gazelle, Gazelle. Find out what your iPhone is worth, what your iPad is worth, your old cell phone. By the way, 2 million trade-ins for over $200 million so far paid out to customers. That's a lot of green from Gazelle. Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, MP3 players. I said MP3. I used to say MP3 players all the time. Then the iPod came out, and we talked iPods. Then the iPod just basically went away, right? I mean, we all have a few just lying around, but and Apple still sells them, but you can't really figure there's much of a future for the iPod because everybody uses their smartphone for music, right? Except the portable audio player is alive and well, thanks to something called high-res music. I'm starting to see a number of companies. Sony has re-released their Walkman. They actually make a $2,000 Walkman, portable audio player, that plays these new studio-quality digital downloads. That's kind of all the rage. You pay a little bit more than a CD, but you get the master. It's in all the digital glory that it was recorded in. Or if it's originally an analog recording, you get a remastered digital version that is higher quality. So I'm reviewing one by a company called FiiO, F-I-I-O. It's called the X1. It looks just like an iPod. It's actually kind of pretty. It's metal and has a scroll wheel like the old iPod and everything. And it's $100. But you have to pay for additional memory. You get up to 100. You could buy a little micro SD card for up to. I got 128 gigs for another $100. So for $200, which is a lot less than an iPad, I've got 128 gigs storage, and I can put these beautiful, high quality music on it. So these are back. By the way, I recommend it if you need a new iPod. Don't get an iPod. Get the FiiO X1, but don't forget to get a little memory to stick in there. So Apple does have a big announcement coming up. The invitations have gone out. Just checking my email again to see if they'd sent me one, but apparently not. But March 9th, big event in San Francisco at the beautiful Yerba Buena Center. That's where the iPad was announced in 2010. March 9th, I think we pretty much know what it is, the watch. Now, Apple has said the watch won't be available till April, so this is kind of this happens. They announce it, and then in a few weeks, you can buy it. But one of the things we're waiting to hear is how much. We know there'll be 3 models, actually 6 total models of Apple Watches. 2 different sizes for each, for a sport model, which will be $350. That's the least expensive. Kind of a middle-of-the-road stainless steel model. We don't know how much that's going to cost. And a blow-your-brains-out solid gold one that will be, no doubt, just because you can't make a solid gold watch that isn't, $5,000 or $6,000. Thousands, no doubt. But we won't know until March 9th. We'll find out, and I'll let you know. But not because I'll be there, because unless maybe, I don't know, maybe it got in my spam folder. I still don't have an invitation from Apple. We have heard rumors that Apple is putting safes in their store. Now, you'd think they've had some expensive stuff in the Apple store. It's not like a Macintosh. Mac Pro is more than $3,000, but for the first time ever, there are safes being put in the Apple store. So I'm thinking these gold watches are going to be, very expensive. Will you buy one? Will you buy one? We'll talk about it, and I will. I have to. Not the gold one. I don't think my wife will let me buy the gold one. No. Back to the phones. We were talking to Phil in Reno, and I'm sorry, Phil, I had to put you on hold. What can I do for you? Welcome back.
Hi, how you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Great. Hey, I am a proud Mac user.
Yay.
And for 7 years, I had a Mac Mini that served me dutifully well. And during that 7 years, I bought quite a few Blu-rays that had the digital download available. Excuse me. Had the digital download available. And I downloaded those movies onto my Macintosh. I have a specific drive just for video.
Yeah.
I replaced my Mac Mini with another newer Mac Mini.
Yeah.
And now I can't watch those movies that I downloaded.
Interesting. What error message do you get?
Well, let me click on Casino here, and I'll tell you.
Well, now, these were legally downloaded, right?
Absolutely.
And they were downloaded from iTunes?
Yes.
Okay.
There. This computer.
Oh, I know why.
Tries to play Casino.
You have to authorize your iTunes account in iTunes before you can play that back. That's called copy protection. We love copy protection. You know what's great about copy protection? The only people it foils are people like you, legitimate owners.
Absolutely.
Normal people. Pirates go, oh, yes, there's no problem here. What you got to do is you got to rip that there and remove all that copy protection, and then you can burn it onto a DVD and sell it on your lawn. It doesn't stop pirates. Pirates know exactly what to do. They don't call Leo and say, hey, what do? I want to pirate this movie. They know exactly what to do. The only people who are ever thwarted by copy protection are normal, real people who actually bought the product. So
and
that's
by golly, I'm one of them.
Yeah. So you go into iTunes and you authorize the account. What you do is you want to play it in iTunes first and make sure it's all working.
Okay.
It just has to be authorized.
I've got iTunes all working, and it works with my iPod 160, which I will never lose.
Me too. I got one in my car. And they don't make those anymore.
I know.
They're a precious, precious commodity. Of course, the hard drive's going to die at some point, and you're out of luck. But
I know.
Yeah. There is a limit to the number of devices you can authorize in iTunes. You can deauthorize once a year all of your devices and start over. And this is not unusual. I think the limit is 5 devices. I can't remember. It's 5 portable plus 5 desktop. I can't remember what the rules are. But try authorizing it. Unless you get an error message, you're golden.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry to keep you on hold for like 3 hours for that answer. Hey, that's tech support, isn't it? At least I didn't play cheesy lounge music down the line to you. Paul in Palmdale, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, how you doing, Paul?
I've got a serious problem.
Yeah.
I need to get a job, and I can't get on my computer to get my resume off of it.
Uh-oh. That's a problem.
Yeah, I have the 7, and I type in my password. I used it just a week ago. As a desktop. I don't use it very often because I normally use my laptop. And now it's saying the user profile service failed to log on. User profile cannot be loaded.
Uh-oh.
And I can get onto all my other ones, my guest and my kids' profiles.
Yeah.
They come up.
The good news is the data's not gone, but something happened. I hope it's not gone. It is possible, to go into the... Do you have a teenager in the house who likes to play pranks on Dad?
No.
Okay, because it is possible to go into the computer if you have a login as an administrator and delete an account.
I am the administrator. I'm the only one.
Yes, I am my computer's administrator. So, good. They can't delete it.
A week ago.
Yeah, well, so hard drives fail. But the good news is it probably isn't, the data, your resume is probably intact. You just can't, I hope, you just can't log into it. So
I can't log into my profile.
Was that account, was that the only administrator account?
Yes. Which I'm sorry that I did.
Well, no, that's normal. In fact, most Windows PCs, when they come out of the box, they're set up that way. You have an account. It's your account. You're an administrator. The problem is, of course, exactly what's happening right now. First thing you should always do on any computer is create an account you never use that's an administrator account. That account is what you could use right now if you had it, so you'd log into that account and see if you could see any of the files. Because the administrator is able to see all files.
Does it matter that if I put in the wrong password, it tells me it's the wrong password? And when I put in the right one, it gives me that user profile service has failed?
Well, that's good. It means that something's still working. The rest of the computer's still working. I think your profile got corrupted. That doesn't mean the data's gone. But it does mean you're going to have to take some measures to get it. I'll explain when we come back. Oh, this is a bad one. Windows loads default instead of user-modified profile, wiping off all settings, files. Oh, I hope that didn't happen. Once in a while, when I log onto my user profile, it logs into a default user profile. What? This is bizarre, but we'll put this in the show notes. You think that's it? Let me see what Scooter X is sending me, a Microsoft help file. That's bad. This is the login message that he's getting. The user profile service failed to log on. Occasionally, says Microsoft, occasionally, Windows might not read your user profile correctly. Just occasionally that could happen. Such as if your antivirus software is scanning your computer while you try to log on. Before you follow the methods here, try restarting and logging on with your user account again. If you restart and then you still can't get in, well, yeah, this is the solution you want. If you have another computer, Paul, this is, you could go to support.microsoft.com and search for support note 947215. Method 1, fix the user account profile in regedit. Oh, geez. Oh, God. No. If this screen doesn't scare you, you're obviously a geek. Otherwise, log on to Windows and copy your data to a new account. That would have been the solution had you had another account that you could access the data from. But I think that account would have to be an administrator account. Or create a new profile. Just delete it and create it. Just start over. No problem. No, he needs his resume, Microsoft. So it looks like you're going to have to do this. Hui. It's not a password error. Understand, he can log in, but he gets this message. The user profile service failed the login. So Paul, the solution is in this note, and it's obviously not going to walk you through this registry edit. Apparently, you know, the technical term for this is your SID is hosed. Oh my God. This is why I hate the registry. They should not have a giant binary hairball on your system that you have to go into and modify so that you could see your data. Wow. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. So thank you, chat room. We did find a solution for Paul. Apparently, this is not unusual. In fact, there's a whole page on the Microsoft support site, support.microsoft.com. The knowledge base article, and we'll put this in our show notes, but if you're, Paul, you need this, and I hope you have another computer you can use because you can read this. It's 947-215. So if you go to support.microsoft.com and in the search field you put 947-215, you'll find this page. It says, here's what to do if you're using Windows 7 or Vista, and you get the error message, the user profile service failed the logon error message. Microsoft says, occasionally Windows might not read your user profile correctly. Which is, by the way, where everything you own and care about is stored. Such as if your antivirus software is scanning your computer while you try to log on. So if this happens, the first advice Microsoft has is restart your computer and then try logging on. Maybe the antivirus was just preventing this. If you restart your computer and it does not resolve this issue, use the following methods to resolve this issue. Unfortunately, here's the note that really is going to be a problem, Paul. You must be able to log on to an administrator account to fix your profile. You can, and this is what you're going to have to do, restart in safe mode because there is a built-in administrator account that you can access in safe mode only. So you're going to restart into safe mode. You're going to use the login administrator, and I think the password is blank, and hit return. Nice job on security there, Microsoft. Now you have access to the whole computer. You can do anything you want. And you'll have to follow these steps, which are very complicated and involve registry editing and all sorts of things. But it's fairly technical. But you should be able to get to your resume. And you know what? If you can do this, you should get a job right away because I think this shows some real initiative and skill. So, Paul, I refer you to that article. I'm not going to walk you through this. It's fairly lengthy. Again, 947-215. Just go to support.microsoft.com. And good luck. This is why backups, can I just say this? I don't want to beat you up or anything. You got to have backups. You got to have backups because hard drives fail. Problems happen. Computers die. If you have a backup, you always have your data. You cannot afford to keep your data, whether it's on an iPad or a desktop or anything. You can't keep it in one place. Your phone. So many people have their entire photo library is stuff they took on their camera phone. They have no backup. You got to have a backup. 8888, ask Leo. Laura in Downey, California. You're next. Hi, Laura. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. I was calling in regards to actually backing up your photos.
Good.
You've spoken to that one caller about. One of the options that there is, and I don't mean to give a commercial for them, but I'm kind of a photo geek and I like to keep all my photos. I'm so worried that one day they're all just going to disappear. So Shutterfly has an app, and you can actually put it on your iPad, and it will automatically upload your photos, and it's unlimited, and it's a free.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, and it's from what I understand, they don't have. I mean, there's no limit to how many you can upload. They actually make their money through you ordering pictures, books, and all that. But I've been able to have my phone pictures and my iPad, and it's automatic. You can set it to that it checks it every now and then, says, oh, here's some new ones, and it uploads it. And then you can go to their site, and they're all there, and you can order them and do whatever you want with them. But that's another way to be able to back up all of your
Great
photos.
tip. Yeah. Shutterfly, which used to be, I want to say, did Kodak buy? Who bought them? Anyway, they're around. They're still going. Now, when I used to have a Shutterfly account, there was one caveat, which is you had to make an order every once in a while or to delete your stuff. I don't know if that's still the case, but you might want to read the rules.
Yeah, I have had it for quite a few years, and I don't think I've ordered anything from them, and I haven't gotten anything saying
good.
you have.
All right.
Costco has that. I mean, I did get that from them.
Yeah.
know too, and they said, "Hey, order, or we're going to take all your files away."
This is kind of nice because you can use Shutterfly to share that with family and friends, and they can order photos and
it works for me as far as being able to get to it. Also, if I'm like, oh yeah, I have this picture, so I think it's really nice. And one last thing, I'm sure that because I was on hold, I heard about your son using your.
I'll tell this story a little later. Yeah.
Yeah, and but the guys were able to tell him he has to just uncheck your Apple ID, and that will stop in settings.
Go to settings, messages, uncheck the Apple ID, and my college-age son's texts from his girlfriend will no longer come to my iPad. That would be nice.
Yeah, that will happen. That will help. And I don't know why in our family.
I know why.
I know. In our family, we all shared one Apple ID because.
Right. Before family sharing, which is now in iOS 8, that was how you shared music. You all use the same Apple ID.
Right. And so now they actually have a family share where you can all have your own. And
thank you, Apple, for doing that. So, yeah, I'll tell Henry that. He needs to. The truth is he could continue to use the Apple ID for iTunes. But he shouldn't be using that for iCloud because then Dad can see not only his text messages, but his pictures and everything else.
Yeah, but the nice thing about family, the new family one, is that when my son puts a new app in, and I could care less about that app, and it automatically then downloads into my phone, into my iPad. And
you can turn that off, by the way. There's a setting to not automatically download new apps.
Yeah, but it won't update them after that. I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where my problem lies. So I was like, okay, everybody off my ID, get your own. And then
that's really the rule. When a kid turns 18, get your own Apple ID, all right? Forget kicking them out of the house. Get your own Apple ID.
There you go.
That's the modern world.
Yeah, I let you stay here, but get your own Apple ID.
Exactly. I don't care if you live with me. That's fine. But you better darn well get your own Apple ID. Hey, Laura, thank you for that's a great tip. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Take care. It's not just Shutterfly. I should have mentioned this to Annette. There are lots of ways to offload. If it's just photos, you don't need iCloud backup. The backup is still nice because there's other stuff on your iPad that you don't want to lose. But if it's just photos, well, she had Facebook. Facebook will also do this. You can turn on automatic uploading of all images, and everything on your phone as you take your pictures or your iPad will be uploaded. Google Plus also does this. Flickr does it. Flickr gives you a terabyte for free. Flickr is a Yahoo company. Who else? Dropbox does it. And in fact, they have a nice new app called Carousel that gives you a nice slideshow. And every once in a while, you get an email from Carousel saying, hey, you want to look back in time? Here's all your pictures from this day in history. It's fun stuff like that. I use a commercial service called SmugMug for pro photographers. The SmugMug app will do that. And SmugMug, like Shutterfly, will let you buy prints and share photos with others. So that, see, now it used to be you'd take pictures at a wedding or a football game or a family event, and you'd have to send the images to everybody. Now you could just upload them to a folder and say, hey, all the images are in this folder. You want to print? Buy it yourself. One good thing about seeing my son's text messages, though, he is actually studying. He's telling his girlfriend, no, I got to go to the library. Unless this is a setup. Hey, wait a minute. I'm still getting these messages, by the way. Anyone want to get dinner tonight? Somewhere good. Frat life. It's so much fun. Oh, my goodness. Let's take a break, and I'm going to go call Henry. And we took a break a long time ago, apparently. I can't wait to get my app done. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, this has been a problem with messages, Apple's messaging system for a long time, which is it's easy to accidentally sign in. If you've been in a family and you've been sharing Apple IDs, which a lot of families do, as you move on in life, go to college, you might want to stop that and get your own Apple ID because it's very easy to accidentally share everything. Photos, iCloud backups. And if I were a dad who is fascinated by my son's life, I might just kind of watch and he would never know. But fortunately, I have zero interest, except to be gratified that every once in a while he says, no, I can't go out tonight. I have to study. Right on. Man, I'm glad we didn't have iPhones when I was in college. Oh, man. James in Gardena, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We barely had, we didn't even have calculators when I was in college. Hi, what can I do for you, James?
Yeah, I had a quick question. I'm paying, like, through Time Warner Cable, I'm paying, I don't have Time Warner as cable. I have DirecTV, but for my internet provider, I'm paying, like, $56 a month.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you think I'm paying too much? And if so, like, what are my other options?
So what are you getting for $56 a month? I pay more than that, by the way. What do you get for $56?
Just internet connection for a landline.
Yeah, how fast is it, though?
I guess what would maybe...
So generally, you pay more for more speed. So you could, if it's on a phone line, it's through a technology called DSL. They're really, if you're talking about terrestrial service, not satellite service, internet service, you really have only two pipes for most people coming into the house. There's your cable, that's a big fat pipe, and then there's your phone line. In some cases, your phone provider may also have fiber optic cables available in your neighborhood. Verizon's been doing that. AT&T does that with some services. The copper pair that comes from a phone company is DSL. That's the kind of service it provides. It can't be very fast, but it should be very inexpensive. You can get basic DSL service for $15 a month or $19 a month, depending on who's out there. One of our sponsors, DSL Extreme, I think offers it for that little.
I think that's where I heard it from first. That's why I called.
Yeah.
I thought I.
But in general, the less you pay, the slower your speed. That's why I'm asking: is $56 fair? Well, if you're getting, I would say for $50, you should be getting 50 megabits down and 2 or 3 or 4 megabits up. You should be getting pretty high-speed internet for that price.
Yeah, it's fairly quick.
Okay. So you can go to a website like speedtest.net and actually check. You should do it several times, different times of the day and so forth, just to get an idea, because it may vary. It varies less, by the way, on DSL than it does on cable. DSL is pretty consistent. So that's, there's a great website, broadbandreports.com, that'll give you a sense of what people in your neighborhood are paying, what people think of the different service providers, who actually is available. Broadbandreports.com. It's just a free website. They are advertising supported. They've been around for years. They used to be called DSLreports.com, but now they're broadband. They cover everything. So I would go there. You get an idea of what other choices there are in your neighborhood.
Okay, yeah, I wrote that down. Thank you.
Yeah, speedtest.net to see how fast you are. Broadband Reports to find out if there's something better at the price that you're. Now, one thing I've noticed with cable companies, they've seen, by the way, this FCC ruling coming. They've seen it down the road for years. And one of the things they're doing, what they also see is that more and more people are going to want to get television over the internet, not from them. So the cable companies have been gradually adjusting the prices of internet, so that when we finally do say, I can cut the cord, I don't need Comcast cable anymore, I'll just use Comcast internet, you won't save a penny. They're smart that way. So the price of internet has been going up very steadily in the United States, waiting for the day when you will no longer want to buy premium services on top of it. That's the solution they've come up with. We pay more in the United States for our internet service than most countries. And there are a good many countries that have very high-speed service for nothing, practically nothing. Sweden comes to mind. $20 for 100 megabits up and down, $20 a month. Now, one of the reasons that's the case is because in Sweden, South Korea, and other places, the government owns the infrastructure. They own the pipe. And then on top of it, internet service, sometimes it's private internet service providers, sometimes it's public internet service providers, but in general, in places where the government subsidized the piping, the tubing, the internet is much, much cheaper. That's a data point. I don't know if that encourages you about the future of the internet in the United States or not. Rick in Salisbury, North Carolina, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Rick.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I'm good. How you doing? What's up?
Not much. I followed you since 94, 95, off and on with DirecTV, and found you on XM radio a few years ago. Now I'm watching your podcast. So my question is, my wife has talked me into a smartphone.
Uh-oh.
I like the old feature phone.
Darn that wife. Does she have a smartphone?
Yeah, we both got the same one, a Galaxy Note 4.
Oh, that's nice. I love my Note 4. Now, wait a minute. Now, why did Mrs. Rick say you should get one?
T-Mobile said you get this for this and that and for that.
Okay. But what T-Mobile probably didn't tell you is it's going to cost you 10 times more to have that smartphone than it is. Because, yeah, maybe you got the phone cheap, but you have to pay for data service now.
No, it's unlimited. She got that plan, so
is it
unlimited phone calls, messages.
That's nice.
Data,
it's like $80 a month, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just pay the bills.
Well, but you're saying the phone is too complicated. You don't need all this stuff.
No. My question is, I listen to you and Steve Gibson and Patrick and a couple others.
Oh, you're a geek. You listen to all this stuff. You're a geek.
Yeah, well,
how could you not want a smartphone?
No, I don't really want a smartphone. But my question is,
yes,
what security system is out there that when I go to the coffee shop and use free Wi-Fi for my Nexus 7 tablet, which I bought on your recommendation.
Good. That's a nice device.
And the phone and that.
Yeah.
What is out there? What security system, antivirus, to keep people from prying? And
all right, so an antivirus will not protect you. Yeah, this is a kind of complicated story. If you use your smartphone and continue to use the T-Mobile data in the coffee shop, and since you have unlimited data, it's probably pretty fast. That might be a solution. Then you only have to worry about T-Mobile. Your data is safe flying through the air. When you're using an open Wi-Fi access point, as you probably learned from listening to our show with Steve, Security Now, an open Wi-Fi access point, it's like anybody who's in the coffee shop can see what you're doing. So in that case, there are a couple of ways to get around this. If you're using, if you're just generally browsing, people seeing you browse is probably not a problem. What you really kind of care about is that your email password doesn't get out. That would be really bad. Or that your bank account information or credit card information doesn't get out. Well, the good news is when you go to an SSL site, a site using HTTPS, that's encrypted even inside the coffee shop. That's encrypted between you and the bank. If your email provider provides encryption, make sure you use that. Same thing. Then it's all right to surf in the shop. All they're going to see is the unprotected sites. You probably don't care about that. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, as always, on the last segment of the last show of the weekend. It's Dick DeBartolo, Mads Mattistrider. The Giz-Wiz is here. What color is your mustache, Dick? Is it gold or blue?
Well, it's gold and blue. It's gold on the outside and blue underneath.
I can see it. Can you? Yes. Have you seen that dress? What color do you think that dress is?
Yes. To me, it was always black and blue.
What?
Yeah,
okay, the black and blue contingent in my studio audience agrees with you.
Agrees.
The rest of us thinks you're nuts. All right.
Well,
isn't that funny?
Yeah. Actually, a lot of people think I'm nuts. It has nothing to do with the dress.
Mad Magazine did a great explanation, by the way, and I want to thank you guys. Dick's been writing for Mad for decades. He's Mad's. What do they call you?
Mad's maddest writer.
Mad's maddest writer. And they explain the dress at madmagazine.com. People with better, and they show the dress actually. People with better eyesight see the dress as black and blue. People who don't see as well in dim lighting see the dress as white and gold. People who are absolute morons see the dress as green and orange. And by the way, the picture is of a green and orange dress. Thank you, Matt.
It's not, Leo. It's a black and blue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's okay. That's okay. We just.
Oh.
I think you just found out something about yourself.
I'm a moron. So, by the way, my favorite word from Mad Magazine, and thanks to you, Dick, for many years I've been using that. So you usually join us each week to show off a gadget or a gizmo. What do you got?
You know, Leo, I'm going to talk about a gadget to see if you can guess what it is.
Oh, good. I love doing that.
Was something I found at Toy Fair. And you and I both know the life of a gadget is like 2 years, 3 years. In the case of most smartphones, a year or two.
Right.
So I come upon this booth that is selling the same toy without change for 55 years.
Okay, let me think now.
Oh, wait, okay.
Oh, are you going to give me a hint?
No. I'm just going to tell you that they have sold 150 million of them.
Lincoln Logs.
No, but that's a great guess.
Erector sets.
That's another great guess.
But wrong. It's got to be Legos then.
No.
It's not
I'll
Lego?
tell you this. It comes in a red frame.
Oh, Etch-a-Sketch.
Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, I loved my Etch-a-Sketch. When I was a kid, I had an Etch-a-Sketch. That was about 50 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been out for 55 years, and I had a very embarrassing thing. They had an Etch-a-Sketch professional artist there who does sketches of Chicago and New York, and I said to the guy, why do you have these just laying here? Someone could pick them up and shake them. He said, no, I drill a hole in the back. After I do it,
Clever.
I drain all the sand out.
Clever.
And then they're permanent. I said, oh, I can't believe it. He said, you could shake that. And I shook it, and the painting went away.
Oh!
He said, I must not have taken all this. I was so embarrassed.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. I said, sir, I said, I was stuttering like that.
Was
And
he he angry?
No, he said,
It's okay. It only took me 4 days to do.
No, he said, I'm not angry because that was just a 12-hour one. He said, some of these cityscapes are 3 and 4 days. I would have freaked out. But he said, obviously, I didn't get all the sand out. Anyway.
Does he make a living doing this?
Leo, listen to this. He goes to weddings.
I would love an Etch-a-Sketch picture.
I know. He does people's portraits.
Is he only in New York? Can I get him out here?
Wait a second. Do I have his website? It's
I want this.
Yeah. You know, if you go to your website, my website, gizwiz.biz, and then your page.
Okay.
I put his
The GizWiz visits the tech guy at giz.wiz.biz.
And
look at that. Wow, these are beautiful.
That's like one of his paintings there.
That's a cityscape. That took a while.
Yeah.
Because you can only, as anybody who's ever had an Etch-a-Sketch knows, you only can go up and down or left and right.
Exactly. And they've, over the years, they've done a couple different frame colors, and they make a pocket-size one. But basically, there's his website, Brian Etch.
It's expired.
Brian
Etch
is
expired. Wait a minute. You either have it wrong on the website, or something.
Right? Isn't that a?
Oh, poor Brian. He's
Brian.
Because I want to hang a portrait of me on the wall. It's in an Etch-a-Sketch. That is so cool.
Oh, that'll be funny.
Yeah. Well, if you go to the Ohio Art Company's website, because they make Etch-a-Sketch, ohioart.com, there's a link, real Etch-a-Sketch artists, that refers to Brian and others.
Oh, okay.
And has their
another way to get to him.
Yeah. Wow.
It was a French guy, an electrician, who was installing a fixture that had a decal on it, and he wrote some notes on the decal about the fixture, and then he looked at the back of the decal and saw his writing had come through the decal, and he thought, you know what? This could be some sort of a game. So he's the one who invented it.
Wow.
And
he's
hit the
not
market
alone
in
now.
1960.
There's people who do this. Wow.
Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, my word.
Here's the Last Supper. Carrie
That's something
Johns.
you don't want to accidentally pick up and shake.
Oh, you'd be in trouble. Some of them better than others.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly.
This is quite impressive. Yeah. I don't see, unfortunately, Brian. So he will go down in anonymity.
Wow.
Now you have injured him twice. You erased his drawing, and now you got the wrong link on your webpage. That's the end of his career. Yeah,
that's right.
That is so cool. Hey, I wanted to mention one of the gadgets that you're a big fan of, and I just saw in the New York Times they're doing very poorly. SodaStream.
Oh, SodaStream, yes.
So SodaStream troubles worse than previously thought.
Whoa.
So this is the company that makes kind of do-it-yourself soda pop.
Exactly.
They missed expectations of Q4 revenues. They did not provide a guidance for 2015. They're worried because Keurig, who make those coffee pods that you like so much, they're getting into the business.
Oh, my word.
Yes. So SodaStream has fizzled out.
Amazing.
Just thought I'd mention that.
No, and you know, Keurig lost the rights to the
pod.
Cups,
Yeah.
the pod. So now they're coming out with a whole new machine that requires different pods that you need to have a code for on the lid. But thanks to your network, what is your show, This Week in Law?
Yes.
Yes, they were talking about it, and they said, oh, if you want to defeat that, just take
Here's a hack.
you just take the label off one of them and paste it over the reader.
So this is, and by the way, printer companies have done this for years. They chip the cartridge so that they say, to make sure you get the best experience.
Yes.
But really what it does is copy protection. It means you can't use other companies' third-party cartridges. And in the case of the K-Cup, they were doing the same thing. They put a little chip in the K-Cup, and it wouldn't work with other people's pods. But they lost that case in court. That's good to know. Yeah.
The amazing thing is I am using K-Cups in my printer. Everything is brown.
It's all coffee
nicely
colored,
done.
but beautiful.
Very nice. Very nice.
And curiously refreshing.
Yes, exactly. I don't have to use decaf in my comedy stuff because it puts people to sleep just by itself.
Go to gizwiz.biz. That is
Last day
website. Last day. This is it. The last day of February. A new contest starts March 1st tomorrow. But if you want to play, here's your chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. The rules and the image are on gizwiz.biz. The What the Heck Is It contest. It's a close-up of some gadget or other. The good news is getting it right is not really the key here. There's 12 autographed Mad Magazines for the right answer. Have you received correct answers?
I have. I just started going through them last night. So far, 3 people, but I've only gone through half the entries.
24. Double the number of Mad Magazines available to those who get it wrong, but get it wrong in a clever fashion. So, I don't know. It looks like a strange kind of a screwdriver of some kind, but I know what it is.
It's the original Etch-a-Sketch tool.
It's not too late for me to submit.
No,
I figured out what it is. It is an ice chisel for your door lock. So
in New York City, you could sell 1 million of them.
Exactly. You know, your door lock gets all frozen. You need to get the ice out of there. It's just a little tiny chisel that you could chisel the ice out of your door lock. And Brian Etch is BryanEtch.blogspot.com. That still works.
That still works. Okay.
That still works.
Okay.
and you might want to change that on your website. So.
Yeah, no, but on Thursday when we did GizWiz, it worked fine.
Yeah,
so
that can happen.
Something happened.
Yeah, something happened. Dick, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Nathan Staten, my musical director. You rock. So, same to you, the phone ranger, Heather Hammond. We'll see you next time. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.